Rappers starting podcasts cause they all talkers. Who the real big steppers and who the mall walkers?
Starks.
Look.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you your host with the most, the best from the Midwest, the overweight lady lover, the husky heartthrob, the Waffle House legend, your not so local supervillain. Ladies want him. Men, they want to be him. Your global icon and national treasure, Starks. Yeah. Okay, we warmed up now. AKA Big Sexy, AKA Hollywood Starks Hogan, AKA Big Chowder, AKA the dark skinned dynamo, AKA Go Grab the Bill, AKA the Messiah of Maniacal Menagerie, AKA Starksy Hutchinson, AKA Chase Manhattan, AKA Big Papa Blunt, AKA Chase Money, a.k.a. God of Body, a.k.a. the Wave Cap Warrior, a.k.a. did the PayPal clear yet, baby? Woo! And I welcome you to another episode. Oh, I'm sorry, and most importantly, let's not forget to stay true and remember, keep killing shit. And I welcome you to another episode of I Should Have Done This a While Ago, the podcast that I've obviously should have started a long time ago. So this is way more formal. You see, I've got like a real shirt on. It's not a robe, right? Certain aesthetics and things have changed. It's not the if you're seeing clips from 4 Henchmen TV, if you haven't became a henchman yet, you'll get the message, right? So as I would like to use my platform as an informative and an educative time, right? Every episode I kind of do want to shed light on something, whether it's positive or negative or whatever, but I just would like to shed light on different things that I've learned across my journey. I'm certain that I've talked about that in previous episodes, but hey, we're here now, and this episode is about Spotify versus everybody, right? And what exactly is Spotify when we talk about that? For people who don't know, I'm an independent artist. As we see back there, an award-winning independent artist. Pop my shit one time. So along this journey, I've seen the birth and creation of Spotify and how that has directly affected me as an independent artist. So as a person who lives on the war path, right? And who lives in the war zone of Spotify versus the music industry versus the creators, right? And we're in the fray. I would like to just educate the general masses and people who do come across this, what is going on within Spotify. And when you do stream somebody's song, right, what is that actual impact? And other ways to help support the artists that you like, not just independent artists or whatever have you, but just artists in just in general, and how in a totality does Spotify affect everyone. So without further ado, let's get into it, man. I've actually made a full-on presentation, right? Let's see if we get her. Yeah, baby. Right? We got a full-on presentation. Spotify versus the music industry. Let's see where we go with this, fellas. So initially, yeah, here we are. We'll get a run through. We'll talk about the death of CDs and the birth of Napster, and how that led to the rise of Spotify, and what exactly is a stream. Major labels and artists, and how this affect independent artists. How can we get paid, the future, and what to do now. It seems pretty pretty laid out. So first, the birth and rise of Spotify to Napster and the death of CDs. So at the point in time of the mid 90s, right? CDs had already having its turn of the technology where the price of it was being increased and the introduction of the internet was happening. So with the birth of the accessible internet to the general public, and birth of P2P file sharing, so peer-to-peer, what that is that you could take your files off your computer, and I believe it's like, I'm not so savvy, but in layman's, it's like taking the files off your computer and being able to allow somebody to download and pull the files that you say they can download and pull. So that's essentially what LimeWire was, right? So it's just you allowing people the access to the files that you said, and vice versa, and that whole share-to-share system. So that's how people could have songs and movies and games and things of the sorts. And naturally, as Americans, bootlegging is our culture. I was watching Life with my girlfriend, right? Because it's Black History Month, and I like to show her educational things because she is not a person of color. So I like to take this time to inform and educate her upon what happens to just Black people and what has happened for history and years and things. So I feel that her expensive education that her family has given her has failed her because she doesn't know anything about American history, let alone just Black people, but the true adversity of American history. And I say that about Life because it runs into a phase of them bootlegging, and they were running moonshine from Mississippi up to New York City. So bootlegging is within a deep, rich part of American history, from alcohol to movies to marijuana to clothing. We gonna bootleg some shit. And what that idea of bootlegging is that some industry, some person is coming in and telling you the regulations of something has to happen. And then they marginalize the market. And what that means is they take control of it, and they control the share and dictate the value, which is a monopoly, right? So that comes in, and that has happened with everything that I've named. Alcohol, marijuana, medicine. Hell, I didn't name that the first time. DVDs, and file sharing. So that was going on. So now people are learning how to bootleg. So the at-home system became a little bit more where people were ripping CDs and uploading them and bootlegging them and sharing those, right? There's actually I want to say it's I feel like it's 2-part documentary series on Paramount Plus. It is called The Death of the CD, I believe. But yeah, go check that on Paramount Plus. That is an amazing watch. And when you really break it down and you get to look at what has happened and the adverse effects of how that industry was felt from just a small amount of people, right? You don't need 100,000, right? 100 strong, properly minded people. Oh boy, you can tear some shit up. So yeah, that's what was going on, and they were tearing down the music industry, and so now music was being bootlegged. CDs were what they had to do was they had to send CDs to a plant to get manufactured, and out of that plant, things were getting duplicated in an illegal manner and getting spread. So like people's albums were getting released weeks and months ahead of time, and then they had to become very secretive about how they deliver the music to these plants and things and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like I said, it's a beautiful documentary. Go ahead and watch that. So now they have this problem, right? And in steps Napster, because already people were doing this particular thing, right? LimeWire, and all these other things had already existed or whatever have you. And now Napster is becoming through, and it's the most branded one, right? The most, as much as of a business as all the other ones could be. And they did not like the Napster guy in any way, shape, and or form. So for whatever reason, we see that the music industry did not want to do business with the Napster guy. And then shortly after that, right, you had Zune, right? Apple Music's their shot into the music world, right? And a lot of people started to realize that the infrastructure that they needed to have to do this, they just didn't have the technology or the means, the know-how to do this, right? In steps Spotify, which they learned how to sell ad space, right? The others weren't concerned with doing that in that kind of degree. So Spotify came in with big advertising people, and they were able to partner with the record labels to be able to get approved certain music and things so artists could get paid correctly through them. So like that's what made Spotify work. It's because they said like, hey, we are trying to help get them paid by whatever, right? That's the projection and of idea of what Spotify is. And not everything goes as planned. So like within Spotify being introduced, right? The pay for music changed. Okay. So like as we look at this, and just to make that like make sense, as like I said, I make in this time period, I've made music from this. I've gone from selling people CDs, right? So in short, right, a CD, we could sell it for, we'll say $5, right? And that's like 12 songs or whatever have you. But for me to make $5 today, just like off of my streaming music, right? Oh man, let's see. How many streams does it have to be? We'll say 5,000 is like $17. So let's try. We'll say like 1,500 streams is like $5, right? So just to be able to make $5, I need my song played 1,500 times, right? And a stream is defined as 30 seconds of continual listening of a song or a song in this matter, right? That's what we're trying to find, right? So it needs to be played at least 30 seconds, right? 1,500 times just to make $5. When I could in turn sell it to one person for $5. It's a considerable difference. I watched there's a meme floating around where they're really showing you what numbers look like, right? It'll show you what 30 people look like, what 100 people look like, and what 1,000 people look like. And the idea of it is trying to show you what like likes and views and things really look like, right? So like put that in the idea of a stream, and I haven't seen that meme yet. So when you do, just know that Stark said it first. So put that in the idea of a stream where like, yo, 1,500 streams is $5, bro. Like, name a song that you like, and at the end of the year, you look at your Spotify rap, right, or whatever that you use, you're on the average, you are not listening to that song 1,500 times. Just saying. Or at least that's what Spotify will like to tell you, right? And now I step into a world of where Spotify and my music distributor will try to tell you what they deem to be appropriate for you as an artist versus just whatever is happening and going on. Anyways, I digress. We look at this streaming numbers as like just being an artist, right? And the payout per stream is 0.003 of a penny, right? This fraction of a penny for your 30 seconds of a stream or a listen. And we start to look at these numbers where like, yo, 1 million streams is for, what are we looking at? 3 racks, almost 3,500. You know what I mean? And, you know, people are fighting to get to that 1 million streams. And we're talking like over a course of a year. And let's look at like just regular, just life, right? The average like cost of living, right? It's about $6,000 per month in the United States. Right, and we're talking about 1 million streams is going to get you like $3,400. So we're just saying if an artist is making, right, just follow me. If an artist is making like 12 million streams, they're barely making, not even making minimum wage. And they can't make living wage. Still, at 12 million streams per month. On Spotify, not a month, but 12 million streams a year. It's not a livable wage in any kind of a means. Nowhere close to it on Spotify within the United States. And this becomes more just a disparaging rate, right? If you look at even when Apple's numbers are very similar, nobody's paying you like a penny per stream, anything like that. Everything is broken down to fractions and fractions and fractions and fractions and fractions of a penny. So here you are where it's like, Spotify has you over the coals and it's a marginalized thing where they're saying that, hey, okay, we've got XYZ billions of listeners. You've got such and such millions of streams, and we're only going to pay you this out of our ad revenue. So that is the fight that everyone is having there just with these streams, okay? So that's a very key thing because once they have defined it in this manner, they have dictated to what they're going to pay or what they're going to do. And each year as we go on, artists are just trying to fight for a larger percentage. So that's why you see people like your Taylor Swifts, Kanye West, all these other people now are trying to remove their music from these streaming services, right? Or do something different where they're uploaded from different versions, different styles of albums so they can make more money. So major labels own a part of Spotify. There are 3 major labels left, and they all own considerable pieces and shares of this publicly traded company, Spotify. So like they have a hand in their own particular pot, right? Let's make this make sense. Spotify is the vessel that pays the artists, right? But the artists are in a contract with the major labels to get themselves paid. So, like, not only does Spotify take a percentage of it, the major labels come and take a percentage of it. Even on my end as an independent artist, that's what happens. Okay? So I will get some streams. Spotify will say, hey, this is what we think that should be appropriate. Literally, what we think that it should be appropriate for the amount of streams that is saying that people have listened to your shit off of our platform. Okay? and then we'll take it to your distributor, and then they too will look at it and they will go, so we're going to take our money off top, but then we're going to also tell you how much is an appropriate amount for you to get paid off of said streams. So that 0.3 whatever percentage or whatever it is that they're saying I'm not getting that, because Spotify is going to go ahead and take something off of the top or whatever have you, right, and just marginalize it. Then my distributor itself is going to go do that. But wait, we're not finished. So once my distributor sends it to me, I get hit again with fees from PayPal, no matter what. Whether or not I choose to take the long process and waiting for the PayPal to clear yet, baby. Right? And as I wait for that to happen, I'm still getting hit with some fees off the top, bruh. Let alone if I would like to expedite that process and I need my money right now. So before I get my money, it's taxed 3 ways. But wait, yet again, Uncle Sam, he all in my fucking pockets too. So I'm going to have to pay taxes on that again as an independent artist. So I understand what major artists are going through. I believe, who was it? Metallica had that whole fight with Napster. So like, I get it. I understand their gripes, but that's like first world problems. I don't want to hear about your rich people problems. Very much so to where like, for those artists complaining about their label deal, get out of it. You have a platform and people to get into it and talk to and to live and feed off of. Man, if I could as I've activated my particular henchman to do that for myself, right? You telling me somebody else with a K, with an M, like, you feel what I'm saying? None of them people, you can't go out there and get it like that. So when I see platforms like Fanbase and you go look at these artists and they're just really holding on to their inflated numbers off of an Instagram, that just means like it's just not real. I can go on to a further more tangent of just how many people are faking it till they make it, and then they got to really figure out who they are when they get there. Regardless, we see that this is a problem for everyone. And there is an inevitable change that is forthcoming throughout the industry, throughout what is going to happen with people, and their engagement with one another. So as I was talking of being a independent artist and how much it costs to be an independent artist, right? And just to put out music, and to be seen in the same light as everyone else, it's at least $500 a year. And we just talked about we needed 1,500 streams or whatever like that to make $5. Excuse me. I think it's almost like 200,000 streams to get to this just measly $500 point. And this is of an artist of a caliber where they don't shoot videos, right? So there's no video visual aspect in there for this person that we're talking about. Adding it up to get to this, right? From making their own beats, right? And this person isn't buying beats, right? This is a very, very brass tacks model, right? What it costs them per year, and let alone from just buying the gear to being able to record. You heard? And that's just doing it proper. But you know, there's many ways to skin cats, and I don't understand why people are skinning cats, but there's so many ways you can do that. So you could do it off your phone, right? And they sell some pretty nice gear that could hook up to iPhones and all of the kind of things, your Androids and whatnot, to give out good quality. I always say to artists too, they're having such qualms and dilemmas with their own particular music and like, man, should I release this or not? And I always tell them, there's some kid with an iPhone 6S, right? iPhone 6S, BandLab, and he is busting your ass, right? Drop it. Put out your music, because that kid is going to put out his music. So what's stopping you? We're not even talking if it's good or not, right? But we just saying this kid, he gonna do it. And he gonna believe in himself enough to be able to put it out, right? You should do the same. So as we look and we see as just an independent artist, and how much does it cost to get into that grind and to fall into it, right? It's a very expensive journey. And when you look at for like where and how you get paid as an artist, your streams on Spotify really, right? Your streaming numbers and services and things, it does add up, because like your ability to sell somebody a CD has been stricken. You feel me? So Apple products, like from what I'm understanding, you cannot sell them. I can sell you a physical like product, but like I'm sorry, like a digital product, like a like my book. Even when I run into this problem with people, or they'll buy things off of Bandcamp or whatever have you. They'd have to have some kind of a destination or something else tertiary to come download those files, right? What I understand, iPhones cannot download music, and it does not retain that. It does not have the brain to do that, right? I can do that with my Droids, right? I can download whatever the fuck I want from that point, be it as it may. So being able to sell people products like that, and iPhones hold a large user base, right? And it holds a insane psychology that comes with that user base, to where it is a classism thing, where it's broken off to where people will belittle you because you do not own an iPhone, right? And the wealth of your knowledge is diminished because you choose to have a different cell phone than them, right? So with that being said, I can't sell shit to those people in that kind of a manner. I could sell you different products. So that's where the streaming things and everything becomes like a very big deal. And as an artist, here's other ways that you can get paid, and other ways to really lean into it. And these are all ways that myself, I haven't listed every source of income, or all of these tactics. And if you would like to see a more in-depth episode about what I just being an independent artist and that further grind into having diversity within your own particular catalog and diversity within your bonds. If you want that episode, man, come on, comment, let me know. But yeah, merch sales, we'll step into that, right? Physical merch. Merch is not always a t-shirt, right? Merch is hats. Shout out Storyline Tees. Merch is the big poster behind me, right? Shouts out Bricks and Bamboo, right? We sold out all of those, right? Shouts out Bricks and Bamboos, right? We did the Weekend at Uncle Sam's keychain, right? Merch is a bunch of different things. Merch is that connection to fans, right? Merch, right, is a bunch of different stuff. The Starks lighters, I knew to sell lighters because of the mass amount of cannabis-inspired music that I made. So I knew from that experience and traction that that audience base would buy that stuff from me. And here it goes. It's gone. Top-selling merch from me, right? Lean into your niches. Features, sponsorships. You heard? That right there. We are in the age of P2P and B2B services, right? Peer-to-peer and business-to-business services. Step into that. Shows. It's not always about a live performance. This week, I'm about to go step in and do a digital live performance for Stream Space. Things like that. That performance lives on the internet forever. So for the people who did not get a chance to come out and enjoy it, there it is. Boom. And other creative services. So like within you being an independent artist, that means you do a bunch of different stuff, or you know how to connect the dots between people who do these creative services. So continue to do that and lean into those things to maximize your portfolio. And so like you can have more streams of income being an artist. Being an independent artist and getting into that grind, man, like the sources of incomes and the diversity is key. Right? And it's good for growth. I didn't know when I started rapping. Frankly, no. I didn't know when I started that I was going to be rapping. I started out just making beats. And then it turned into a thing of I wasn't getting people who wanted to rap over my beats. So then to show people my beats, I started rapping over my beats. Right? And then people started liking those beats. But then they didn't want to pay for those beats. So then I just kept rapping over my own beats. And then I just became my own particular rapper. I turned it into, well, why don't I start making the song that I wanted to hear? And that's just the point of my own creation. So just out of that, of just me creating my music in that way, just step into the journey. You don't know where it's going to take you. I didn't know it was going to take me into podcasting, into wrestling, into politics, into just a bunch of different worlds. You just don't know, right? So keep your possibilities open. Don't forget that you're a creative, first and foremost. I don't like when people just call me a rapper. I don't. I do so many different things, right? So step into your creativity, man. It will go a long, 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 long way. And it will also lead you into the future, right? So statistically, what has happened with the future is pornography leads the way of technology. I believe it was either 40-year-old virgin or one of these movies, but they explain this, right? How pornography, I think it was 40-year-old virgin. It dictates the steps and ways of the future, right? So from Betamax to VHS, right, to DVDs and HDs and Blu-rays, all of these things were led by the dictation of pornography. So generally, what happens is if this industry picks it up and it takes it, it usually does well throughout history. So there are other things that did happen. There was another system that was not VHS, but it was probably like complicated or something else, but pornography didn't pick it up and it wasn't supported, so it just died off. Same thing with HDs, DVDs, and Blu-rays, right? There's a reason why we got way more Blu-rays than HD DVDs. It's because pornography picked it up and made Blu-rays out of them, right? DVDs, and I think there was I can't remember the other one. DVDs and mini discs. Mini discs didn't last because pornography didn't make it up and didn't put shit on no fucking mini discs. So here we are with DVDs, and you still did get mini discs because that's what GameCube discs were. They were like the little small mini ones. Hey, learning in real time. So what's happening now, right, with the dictation of pornography is the birth of OnlyFans and the direct-to-consumer marketing and direct-to-consumer market, right? So OnlyFans is pornography directly to you from the creator, right? So now that is happening with those creators, it is the same thing that is happening within the independent artist world. And you'll see this with Lil Russell, your Suicide Boys. A lot of people will have a direct to consumer way to give you a product, right? Where you can buy something directly from this person. So when you see on IG Live, and when you see on Instagram or social medias where you can get into their private groups or private channels, you can pay for a subscription to get exclusive content from them. That's the OnlyFans market, and that's that influence on it. So now, like, you see that directly on Facebook and Instagram, right? So somebody can, and Twitter and YouTube, somebody can pay you for a subscription on all of these different platforms now, right? That is a problem for Spotify. Right now, Spotify has to compete directly with you. Right? So within that, Spotify don't like that, bro. Spotify don't want to compete with me. It doesn't want to compete with you. It doesn't want to compete with Kendrick Lamar, and it doesn't want to have to compete with Netflix, which it is. We're all direct competitors for your attention. Right? So here we are. We're all pushing and making content to get your eyes and attention and your time and your money and your resources, right? As we're all going forth that's where those direct-to-consumer services come into play. So your Spotify subscription per month, right? We fight to get into your entertainment budget. And I don't think independent artists look at themselves in that way of where I'm not in competition with the direct lateral artists with me. I'm like, sure, cool, if we would like to look at it in that such marginalized way. I'm in direct competition with Apple Music, with Ebro, with Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, you know what I'm saying? With WWE, I'm in competition with those people for your attention. So I need to act as such and accordingly. And that's the day and age that we're in and we're growing to. And what forth I think is going to happen with the future is just more broken down networks, right? As you see, it is the day and age of the self-produced content. Your food shows are probably somebody walking through real life day to day, eating something from that restaurant and then them talking about it. Excuse me. Your news is probably some dude off of TikTok. You heard your weather is reported from your apps. Sports is Cameron and Mace. So the days and age of networks controlling everything, or some unified brain telling you what has to be done or what is okay, is dying out. And now it is left up to us to create. And so now those big brands, for their products to live, have to come talk to people like me and like you to make that stuff happen and grow. So as Spotify eats up the marketplace and people become unsatisfied, more at duress with it, I am only left to think that we can just go somewhere else and we'll create our own things. We hear Netflix is bringing a music streaming service soon, I believe within this year almost. And we'll just continue to see what happens and how much it grows and just where it takes. But direct to consumer is the way. And as you've seen throughout American history, just human history, if we don't like something, we gonna change it. Sure enough. This was dope. My name is Starks. It's an acronym for Stay True and Remember Keep Killing Shit. Hopefully you learn something within these 40 minutes. Go to Starks.com, become a henchman, support me directly, right? Because that's what we talked about, right? And before we leave too, as I plug my own things, I wanted to leave off on how could you as fans help artists, right? As I talked about independent artists, where the actual support and things. Support in itself, it is a broad term, and it doesn't always have to mean a monetary value. So you don't need to always give someone $1 to support them. Sharing content, liking it, hell, even if you share it to somebody who you think would like it, right? Let's say if you don't like it, whatever have you, these things really do help. Truly. It helps the algorithm, it helps exposure. It helps that artist get a fair chance and a shake, right? So if you have an artist that you like, by all means go to their website, patron. You heard? Like, buy something directly from them. If it's a big artist, don't bootleg their shit. Like, when I say bootleg it, don't order products off of like Amazon from them. Go to that artist's direct website, which more than likely they do, and buy that merch from them. 100%. Stop giving it to the middleman. When you want the high luxury brands, right? You want that Louis Vuitton, you want that Chanel, that Birkin. You're not getting that from a stepped-on distributor. You going directly to them, you're going to pay that fare, and you're going to feel very good about what you just spent your hard-earned money on. Treat your favorite artist like a luxury brand. Support them. And feel happy about supporting them. So, I'll leave y'all with that. This episode was fun. It's a little heavy. The next one, I am going to talk about electric bikes, man. Let's switch it up. Oh, no. I keep trying to leave, right? We're not leaving. We like to do something cool at the end of these episodes. What have we been watching? What have we been listening to? That's not the jingle. I ain't got no jingle for that. Whatever. So what have I been watching, man? I have been watching. I watch a lot of wrestling, but recently I've been enjoying Ashe Wrestling. Right? And if you don't know what Ashe Wrestling is a independent black wrestling promotion put on by Darius Lockhart, the revolutionary, the intergalactic soul, Darius Lockhart. This I like Ashe Wrestling because it is diversely different. And I mean within the way that it's presented, the way that it sounds, the way that it's edited, the color, the tonality, and that's everything without saying the wrestlers, right? By it being an all-black cast. Even without all of that into it, the fact that this stuff is presented in this manner, man, it's beautiful. I like it. I enjoy the Ashe Wrestling. It's on YouTube. Check it out.
On Ashe Wrestling.
Come on, man.
The intergalactic soul, Darius Lockhart addresses his future. The infantry versus the main.
Man, the presentation is just beautiful.
And the All-Father, Darius Carter versus the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham.
Yeah.
We hear from Charity King.
Come on, man.
Ashe musical guest. The Blues.
Right? Man, come on, bruh. It is the meeting of the culture and wrestling. Period. This is the blackest shit going, man. I love it. It's so beautiful. The fact that they have a musical guest every episode, it does it for me. And so far, I have not heard of any of these artists coming into it, but the presentation and how it is, how the performances are is dope. I enjoy it every time, every single time. Yeah, give it up for Ashe Wrestling. That's just some of the things I enjoy. So let's talk about what we've been listening to. So this is a song. Let me not be selfish. Guilty pleasure. I won't say even in guilty pleasure, right? Songs I have been listening to, things I enjoy, things I love, right? That's what I like to do at the end of the show is talk about things I enjoy, love, things I've been watching. Cool. We talked about Ashe Wrestling. I always want to plug my own particular album, right? The deluxe version of Villain 2 Darkness Ensues, out on all platforms. But a song that I have been enjoying recently, right? One of my faves. I've seen this song perform. I like it because it is a flip on these are a few of my favorite things, right? It's dope. Give it up for Honesty Blade, Power Naps, and R Squared with Things I Love. Written and spit in such a passionate way. It's like the way we did it back in the days. Just let the soul sample sing to you. Let it make you aware of the fact you got the blood flowing of a king through you. I'm in the sea of words, watch to see me reemerge. Cool, but I can take it higher than the 3rd degree and burn. Yet I'm the opposite of fire, but hot because I'm hocking my saliva. You just got a lot of lights. Yeah. So yeah, that's the stuff that's the stuff I've been enjoying, right? Some Ashe Wrestling, Things I Love by Honesty Blade. I believe I've touched on everything that I've needed to speak on, right? I think we can properly give some good goodbyes now because I've tried to get away from you guys so much. Next week's episode or next episode is going to be e-bikes. We'll talk about that, the growth of that industry, right? And we'll show some cool things and have some fun. I got to make that presentation. The episodes take a little bit of while because I do make that that presentation that I was showing with the Spotify and the words and the stuff. Like, yeah, that took me some time. And yeah, so give me some more time. We're gonna make some more episodes. Try to do 2 a month. That's the goal. We'll have some fun. My name is Starks. That's an acronym. Stay true and remember, keep killing shit. This has been another episode of I Should Have Done This a While Ago. Check me out at starks.com. Become a henchman. Support the artist directly. Fuck the man. Fuck the system. Hack the system. We're out, y'all. Have a good one.
Rappers starting podcasts cause they all talkers. Who the real big steppers and who the mall walkers?